President Trump is apparently pretty good at keeping the North Koreans guessing. In fact, they're reportedly so confused about how to respond to him, they're said to be secretly asking a few D.C. analysts for clues. And here's why. While the Secretary of State often seems to be pushing for peace, the president said this yesterday.
If we take that option, it will be devastating. I can tell you that. Devastating for North Korea. That's called the military option. If we have to take it, we will.
No, boy. Well, back at home, the communist regime isn't taking any chances. Their foreign minister claimed they would, quote, shoot down United States strategic bombers, even when they are not inside the airspace border of our country. Oh, boy. So who's got the upper hand here? Let me ask Fox News strategic analyst and author of the brand new book, Judgment at Appomattox, Lieutenant Colonel Ralph Peters returns.
Hey, Kennedy.
Welcome back. Lieutenant Colonel, I want peace. I really do. But what happens if they shoot down one of our bombers in international airspace?
That is a blatant act of war. We would have to respond. And if you respond, in this particular circumstance, you have to respond with overwhelming force.
And what does that mean?
That means you take the opportunity to destroy their nuclear and missile programs. I mean, again, peace. Look, peace is better for everybody. It's better for people. It's better for markets. It's better for the environment. Blah blah.
But well, not blah, blah.
No. Of course, it's not trivial. But peace is preferable. But we cannot allow there to be a nuclear Pearl Harbor somewhere down the road. Now that said, I think that the North Koreans, you got to divide them up. The generals are getting scared. The top civilians are getting scared. But Kim Jong-un lives in a bubble. And the generals can't really get together to unite against them because they're afraid they'll rat each other out.
That's a really important point.
Yeah.
And it leads me to wonder, what kind of information are they giving Kim Jong-un? Are they so scared for their lives that they just give him fake good news?
Now, that has been a cardinal worry for me for a long time. Because when you give Kim Jong-un bad news, it doesn't always turn out well for you. I mean, he kills members of his own family. So I think he's certainly, I know he's surrounded by yes men, but my point is the yes men are starting to get worried.
Yes.
And they don't know what to make of President Trump. Now, personally, I like the strong, silent type, as opposed to Obama's weak, silent type of diplomacy. But I think Trump is actually, in his own way, pretty effective because they don't know what to make of him. They've never been talked back to like this.
Yes,
and when
the unpredictability may have its merit. We have yet to see how the whole thing plays out. But in the end, we may look back and say, well, thank goodness there was a rhetorical shift in this country to put them back on their heels. Do you think it's a good thing that there is this unpredictability and there is so much that's impossible to pin down about this president for the North Koreans?
I think in this particular situation, it is far more good than bad because, again, the North Koreans are used to rolling over us. With President Obama, they knew exactly what they were getting or what they wouldn't get because they knew he'd ponder it and ultimately do nothing. Yes. But now with Trump, I mean, they're hoping that Jim Mattis is driving the car and Trump's just leaning out the passenger side shouting, but they don't know. Yeah. They don't know. And so I think in this case, uncertainty is playing to our advantage, but also the Chinese don't really know. Nobody stood up to them. For the last 25 years, nobody stood up to the Chinese, and now you see the Chinese starting to act. Whether or not they will go far enough to break the regime's
that remains to be seen. Now it is Free Speech Week here on the show, Lieutenant Colonel Peters. We've only got about 10 seconds left. How would you like to exercise your free speech in insulting Kim Jong-un? Go ahead.
He's too pathetic to even insult. I mean, it's like kicking one of Jerry's kids. You just don't do it.
Okay.
You know.
All right. Lieutenant Colonel
President Trump does a good job on it.
Yeah, he does. He absolutely does. That's one thing you can say. Lieutenant Colonel Ralph Peters, thank you as always for your time.
Thank you.
Awesome. Coming up, popular music has tested cultural boundaries for decades.